It's your boy Pop Pop. I'm going to get right down to the brass tacks. December 6, 1941 was a very important date in history, and the progressives hate my generation because we remember history and we are witnesses of history. So, December 1941, the Imperial Japanese Imperial Fleet, with 6 aircraft carriers, Akagi, the Kaga, the Soryu, the Hiryu, the Shokaku, and the Zuikaku, 2 battleships, 2 heavy cruisers, 1 light cruiser, 9 destroyers, 8 tankers, 23 fleet submarines, 5 midget submarines, 414 aircraft, 353 of which took part in the raid on Pearl Harbor, which will happen Sunday morning, December 7th, 1941, right before church at 8:30 in the morning, 8:15 in the morning, when the sailors are in their bunks and they have all of the hatches conveniently open on the ships to get the nice refreshing air. And so when the ships get hit, they'll go right to the bottom with all of the men. Arizona, I think, had 1,500 men that DIE in an instant when a BOMB goes down the chute and hits the ammunition magazine in the ship and just blasts it to bits. So, but see, your generation isn't told that. When Obama went to Japan to apologize on behalf of America, my generation was horrified because we knew what the Japanese had done to POWs. They marched them until they dropped. They starved them until they dropped. They put them in vats of ice water until they perished to simulate pilots that had landed in the ocean and frozen to DEATH. They beheaded some of them, which is really nasty because when you behead somebody, you're trying to take away their eternal soul salvation and keep that from them. And the worst thing that they did was that they did vivisection on some of the men, meaning they disassembled the men like frogs in a laboratory while they were still alive, cut them open, and took various parts out of them. Other men, they lined them up and they SHOT them to see what wounds the gunshots produced. And yet, Obama went to Japan to apologize on our behalf. So we were horrified. And no, Pop Pop has never owned a Japanese car, nor I ever will own a Japanese car. I'm sorry. Now, the prerequisite for this was that America had Japan in an economic stranglehold in order to put a lid on imperial Japanese ambitions, okay, to go out and exert themselves over the rest of the world, China, etc., and gain land and territory and resources. So through embargoes and sanctions, America put Japan in a stranglehold, and that was the reason that Japan answered back with Pearl Harbor. But they did it surreptitiously. They visited America as tourists, and they took pictures of the harbor, and they did depth readings and all of that, because the problem was the harbor was so shallow that as the planes came in to drop the torpedoes, the torpedoes would hit the bottom and go off rather than make it to the ships. So in any case, the Japanese, being very industrious, made wooden paddles that went on the torpedoes, and then as the torpedoes were dropped, the wooden paddles kept the torpedo from going too deep in the water. Then they broke away and allowed the torpedo to go to their target. So that's it in a nutshell for this introduction of December 6, 1941.